You know, if you're going to church today on Sunday, you've got a serious discrepancy in your brain and you're not using critical thinking. So, right, you're going to church to supposedly become closer to God, to be like your Messiah, Yeshua. But Yeshua didn't go to church on Sunday, ever. Not once. Not once while your Messiah walked this earth did he go to church on Sunday. And when he returns, Isaiah 66 says he still keeps the seventh day Sabbath. And Isaiah 2 says the same thing, Micah 4, Zechariah 14, Ezekiel 40 to 48. When Yeshua returns, he still follows the Father's commandments. So why are you going to church today on Sunday? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever thought about the fact that the Bible shows Yeshua, the disciples, going to fellowship, to have the Holy Convocation on the seventh day of the week? That's the day they were going to the temple and the synagogue. They weren't just sitting at home on Sabbath meeting on the first day of the week. Have you ever considered the fact that people say, well, now we celebrate Sunday as the Sabbath because Yeshua rose from the dead on the first day of the week, but you can't find that in Scripture that the Sabbath changed. And in the very fact that they admit that the Sabbath changed, whereas God himself says he will never change, we've got an incongruency. Got a problem. See, we don't get to serve God our way in the kingdom of the Creator. We're supposed to do things his way. What would Yeshua do? WWJD, WWYD. What would Yeshua do? He would keep the Sabbath, so why aren't you? Well, history shows us a very dark side of humanity, and as soon as the early church started, like Acts 20 warns us, wolves started coming into the movement, and they started to teach against the Torah right away. Marcion and all sorts of people. And it really culminated in about 321 AD when Constantine was like, hey, I believe in Jesus too. Wink, wink. No, he didn't. Even the demons believe and tremble. Even his onks on his hat was still for the sun god soul. Yeah, so he had a false god's symbol on his hat, not Yeshua. Anyway, he said, I believe in Jesus too, but we do these holidays over here. They did Saturnalia, the day of the sun god, Sunday, the day of the sun god. They did all these things, all these traditions for the sun god, because Babylonian mythology was steeped in sun god worship, and the Romans adopted that. And he said, I want you all to do it this way. You can just pretend it's about Yeshua, because he rose on the first day of the week, after all, so you can just change the Sabbath. There was already a yearly holiday for that, by the way, the Feast of First Fruits. This weekly Sabbath was never supposed to change. It's always the seventh day of the week. Over 100 languages call Saturday Sabbath, not Saturn's day. In fact, the Romans tried so hard to hide the fact that the seventh day of the week was Sabbath that they rebranded the word for Sabbath, and they named it over with the name of a false god, Saturn's Day. So it's not wrong to observe the Sabbath from Friday night to Saturday night. That is the Sabbath. They just renamed it. And over 100 languages